I'm a knight, I'll have you know.
You don't look to be a knight.
Before dragons ruled the sky and kings tore the realm apart, Westeros was shaped by quieter stories, the kind that history books forget. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms takes us back to a time where honor matters more than bloodlines, and survival depends on grit rather than crowns. This isn't a tale of iron thrones or world-ending wars, but the journey of one man trying to prove he belongs in a world that barely notices him. Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're breaking down A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Episode 1, recapping everything that happened and explaining what the ending really means for Dunk, Egg, and this very different corner of Westeros.
I told you. What, you?
Dunk's introduction and the death that shapes him. The episode opens on a deeply personal note as we meet Ser Duncan the Tall, better known as Dunk, in the middle of burying the man who raised him, trained him, and gave him a life beyond the gutters of Flea Bottom. Ser Arlan of Pennytree wasn't a legendary knight or a powerful lord, but to Dunk, he was everything. The rain pouring down during Dunk's clumsy but heartfelt eulogy mirrors the weight of the moment, emphasizing that this isn't just the loss of a mentor, but the loss of the only family Dunk has ever known. Dunk's speech instantly tells us who he is. He's kind, sincere, and driven by a sense of justice, but he lacks the polished words of noble knights. He speaks plainly because that's how he lives. And while he's grieving, Dunk also understands the harsh reality of being a hedge knight. He doesn't have the luxury of mourning forever. What he has left is 3 horses, a sword, armor, and the titles Ser Arlan gave him before he died. Whether that knighting was fully legitimate almost doesn't matter to Dunk, because in his heart, he earned it, choosing the road over comfort. As Dunk debates his future out loud to his horses, we get a quiet but revealing look into his mindset. He considers safer options like heading to Lannisport or joining the City Watch in King's Landing, choices that would give him food, shelter, and steady work. But Dunk isn't built for comfort. He's chasing something bigger, even if he can't fully explain what that is. So instead, he chooses the risky path and heads toward the tourney at Ashford Meadow, hoping that glory, recognition, and maybe even survival will come from facing other knights in the lists. This choice is important because it immediately frames him as an underdog. He's not chasing power, crowns, or fame for ego's sake. He's chasing legitimacy. He wants to prove that he belongs in a world that constantly reminds him he doesn't. The inn encounter and the first glimpse of Egg. On the road, Dunk stops at an inn, and this seemingly small detour introduces one of the episode's strangest and most intriguing moments. Inside, a drunken man approaches Dunk, claiming he saw him in a dream and warning him to stay away. It's unsettling, mysterious, and very George R.R. Martin in tone. The warning is never explained, but it plants the idea that fate may already be circling Dunk, whether he likes it or not. Outside in the stables, Dunk meets an impertinent bald boy who has zero respect for him. The boy boldly wears Dunk's helmet, sits on his horse, and immediately questions whether Dunk is even a real knight. Their exchange is sharp, funny, and revealing. Dunk tries to assert authority, but clearly isn't used to it, while the boy, who later reveals himself as Egg, has confidence far beyond his station. When Egg asks to become Dunk's squire, Dunk refuses without hesitation. He barely has enough to survive on his own, let alone care for a child. But even in this short interaction, the chemistry between them is undeniable. Egg is fearless and sharp-tongued, while Dunk is awkward and hesitant, setting up a dynamic that already feels classic. Arriving at Ashford Meadow and the reality of being a hedge knight, Ashford Meadow should represent hope for Dunk, but instead, it becomes a harsh reminder of how little the world cares about knights without names. The master of the games, Plumber, has never heard of Dunk or Ser Arlan, and without proof of knighthood, Dunk isn't allowed to compete. His claim that Ser Arlan knighted him on his deathbed raises eyebrows, and Plumber demands that another knight vouch for him. This moment perfectly captures the life of a hedge knight. Skill, loyalty, and courage don't matter nearly as much as reputation. Dunk's entire future hinges on whether someone important remembers a man who died quietly on the road. The financial trap of the tourney. Even if Dunk manages to enter the tourney, the stakes are brutally high. He doesn't have spare money to ransom back his horse or armor if he loses. His plan is terrifyingly optimistic. Win his first match and use that ransom to fund the rest. It's a gamble that highlights how fragile his situation really is. One loss could leave him destitute. Dunk spots the banners of House Dondarrion and believes this is his way in. Ser Arlan once served them, and surely they would remember. But when Dunk seeks out Ser Manfred Dondarrion, he's turned away again and again, reinforcing the idea that Hedge Knights exist on the edges of noble society, always waiting, always hoping. Intimidation, missed chances, and quiet kindness. As Dunk wanders the tourney grounds, he watches other knights train and feels his confidence crumble. These men are polished, skilled, and well-equipped. Everything Dunk fears he is not. When Sir Stephen Fossaway tries to provoke Dunk into sparring, Dunk refuses, not out of cowardice, but out of self-preservation. He knows he can't afford injury or humiliation. Later, Dunk speaks with women outside Sir Manfred's tent, who initially tease him, but quickly soften. They've seen men like Dunk before, dreamers who believed a tourney would change their lives, only to be broken by it. Their warning isn't cruel, it's realistic, and Dunk leaves the interaction reminded that kindness in Westeros often comes from those who have nothing to gain. The laughing storm and a moment of belonging. That night, the episode shifts tone as Dunk stumbles into Lionel Baratheon's celebration. Known as the Laughing Storm, Lionel fills his tent with noise, drink, and energy, a stark contrast to Dunk's quiet anxiety. Lionel immediately notices Dunk's height and presence, mistaking his lack of a gift as a potential insult, until Dunk admits he's only there for food. This honesty wins Lionel over. For the first time in the episode, Dunk feels seen not as a nobody, but as someone interesting. Lionel's drunken stories and booming laughter create a brief illusion that Dunk might actually belong in this world, even just for one night. The crushing disappointment with Ser Manfred. Dunk's hope collapses when he finally encounters Ser Manfred at the feast. Despite Ser Arlan's years of service and injury, Manfred doesn't remember him. The indifference is devastating. To Dunk, Ser Arlan was everything. To Manfred, he was no one. This moment quietly reinforces one of the show's strongest themes. History remembers lords and kings, but men like Ser Arlan vanish without a trace. Dunk's struggle for recognition isn't just personal, it's systemic, and the episode makes it painfully clear how stacked the world is against him. Dunk and Egg finally unite. Returning to his camp, Dunk finds Egg waiting for him. Having secretly followed him by riding in a lamb cart, the reveal feels earned rather than forced. Egg introduces himself properly, and Dunk finally claims his name, dubbing himself Ser Duncan the Tall out loud for the first time. It's a small moment, but it carries weight. Dunk is choosing who he is, regardless of who recognizes him. Despite Egg's continued arrogance and sharp comments, Dunk agrees to take Egg on as a squire, at least for the duration of the tourney. Dunk promises to share what little he has and protect Egg as best he can. Under the open sky, without tents or banners, the two fall asleep like equals, bound by circumstance rather than status. The shooting star, and what the ending really means. As they lie there, Egg points out a shooting star, claiming it brings luck to those who see it, especially those not sleeping in pavilions. It's a poetic ending, symbolizing hope for people on the margins. The ending closes not with a threat or a twist, but with quiet optimism. The ending suggests that while Dunk may lack recognition, wealth, and power, he has something far rarer in Westeros: integrity. And Egg, whose true identity remains a mystery to new viewers, is clearly more than just a stable boy. Together, they represent a version of Westeros we've never truly explored, one built on small choices, personal honor, and survival, rather than crowns and dragons. Our nerdy thoughts. Episode 1 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms doesn't try to outdo Game of Thrones. Instead, it sidesteps it entirely, offering a grounded, character-driven story that feels refreshing and intimate. By focusing on Dunk and Egg, the series promises a journey through Westeros that's less about destiny and more about decency. And by the end of the premiere, it's almost impossible not to root for this unlikely knight and his even unlikelier squire.
Okay. Thanks.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.